Okay, this is my version of how to make pita nchiusa, which is from Dad's area of Calabria. It's a 2-day process, and the first day is basically getting the dough together and getting your ingredients assembled. You begin with 4 pounds of ground shelled walnuts, and they have to be ground fairly fine, and 4 pounds of raisins, which you have to rinse several times and then let drain overnight so that they're soft when you go to use them. I do that part the night before, and I also mix the dough the night before because the dough will roll out better if it's had a chance to rest. So to make the dough, you take a pan, and in the pan heat 1.5 cups of water, 1.5 cups of olive oil, and 2 cups of a white wine, preferably one a little on the sweet side. And you heat them just until they're lukewarm. Don't let them boil or anything else, just lukewarm. And if you've ever made pasta before, the way to make this dough is essentially the same. You take 5 pounds of flour, and it can be an all-purpose flour, and put it in the center of a large surface. You can use a countertop, you can use an unvarnished wooden cutting board, whatever is big enough to hold 5 pounds of flour. After you do that, you take a teaspoon of salt, 2 cups of sugar, and 6 tablespoons of baking powder, and just sprinkle it over the flour, and then mix it all with your hands so that all of the dry ingredients are incorporated into each other. After that, make a well into the flour with your hands and form a well in the center of the flour. Gradually add the heated liquid and 8 eggs to the flour. And as you break the eggs into the well, beat them with your hand, and then gradually pull in the flour from the sides so that you're incorporating the wet ingredients and the dry ingredients. It'll come together and it'll be kind of a clumpy dough. You have to knead it at this point. And depending on your experience handling dough, it could take you 7 or 8 minutes. It could take you, as it takes me, more like 20 minutes. And work it until you get a smooth, somewhat soft dough, but don't let it get sticky. If the dough is getting sticky, but sprinkle flour on the surface and work it into your dough until the dough works out for you so that it's not sticking to everything. When you think you have the dough to the right consistency, and it'll be kind of a shiny, smooth consistency, divide it into 7 or 8 equal sized chunks, maybe the size of a softball. Then I work those chunks individually too, to knead them so that I'm sure I've got them into a smooth dough. When you're through with that, wrap them individually in wax paper and just leave them overnight. Do not refrigerate them, just leave them out overnight. The next morning, you're ready to begin making the pita nchiusa. So you take 1 piece of the dough and roll it out on a flat floured surface. And try to roll it out as thin as you can. That's kind of the difficult part of this. I use a dowel from the hardware store. It's about 3 feet long and probably 1 inch thick. When the dough is rolled, cover the whole surface with olive oil, and this is where experience comes into it, because you don't want a ton of olive oil on yet. You don't want them to be dry. So you cover it with olive oil, sprinkle cinnamon and some cloves on it. Be careful with the cloves because they're very strong and they can't overtake it. And then edge and sprinkle it with sugar. Spread it around with your fingertips at that point. Sprinkle evenly with the nuts and the raisins, just as if you were making a pizza and you were putting tomatoes and cheese on it. Once you do that, from the bottom, you begin to roll up the dough. You fold it over, maybe 2 inches wide. And once you do that, take what I call a ravioli wheel, or a serrated cookie cutter actually, and just cut across the bottom of it. You'll end up with a strip of dough about 2 inches wide filled with all the raisins and the nuts. At that point you begin rolling them up into a rosette, and put them aside until you do that to the whole sheet of pastry that you have in front of you. You should have 5 good-sized rosettes when you're finished. If you don't and you're making more of these, then you can always save them and group them together later. In order to make more of them, I use a prepared store-bought pastry crust for the bottom. And what you would do with that is take out the pastry crust, roll it as thin as you can, and again, put olive oil over it, sprinkle it with cinnamon, cloves, sugar. Do not put any nuts and raisins on this though. When you've got that covered, group your rosettes, pick one for the center and then group the rest around them. When you've got them grouped, leave a 2-inch border with your pie crust so that you can encase the rosettes with the pie crust. Get some string, tie the rosettes together, and once you have that, you can gently place them into a pie dish which is lined with what traditionally we use as a brown paper, a cut paper bag is what my grandmother always used. You bake at 350 degrees for 45 minutes. When they come out, let them cool for a very short time. Then you drizzle honey over the top. When they're totally cooled, I would place a paper towel at the bottom, put the pita nchiusa on top of the paper towel, wrap it up in wax paper and then in foil, and they will last a long time in the refrigerator, and I've recently discovered that you can freeze them and they'll be perfectly fine. You would do the same process for all the remaining pieces of the dough. It's an old family recipe. It's not particularly exact. It sort of comes with experience, and you develop a feel for it. A lot has to do with your personal taste in terms of how you season it and what you put on it. The use of the wax paper, the paper bag cutouts, and the dowel from the hardware store are all old school, and I'm giving you the recipe that my grandmother used, and I'm telling you the way she did it. But there are many other adaptations that are possible, but this is what I remember.